Chosen ones, you have 45 minutes left. God is trying to reach you, and you've been skipping this moment your entire life. Open your heart quickly, because this is not just another video. This is heaven's urgent whisper, a divine alarm clock ringing in your spirit, telling you that the time to rise is now. You didn't stumble across this message by accident. Your soul was guided here, drawn by a force greater than coincidence, because God has something to tell you that could change everything. Right now, your heart is racing, isn't it? That's not anxiety. That's the Holy Spirit stirring, confirming that this moment is yours. You're standing at the edge of your divine purpose, but there's a shadow holding you back. Fear that whispers you're not enough, that you've missed your chance, that this door to your destiny will lead to disappointment. Tonight, we're going to shatter that lie. This video unveils how your deepest fears are the keys to your greatest breakthroughs. You weren't created to cower, you were chosen to conquer. So, listen closely, chosen one, because in the next 45 minutes, God is about to show you why every fear you faced was preparation for the breakthrough you're about to claim. Picture this. A radiant door stands before you, glowing with celestial light, your name carved in gold across its surface. This isn't a dream, it's the doorway to your divine destiny, crafted by God before you took your first breath. But here's the truth that might shake you. That door is creaking, starting to close, and you have 45 minutes to decide whether you'll step through or let fear lock you out forever. In Revelation 3:8, Jesus declares, "I have set before you an open door, which no one is able to shut." But notice, he doesn't say it stays open forever. Divine timing has a rhythm, and this is your beat, your moment, your final call to step into God's plan for your life. You've been praying for a spiritual awakening, haven't you? You've been crying out for a breakthrough, wondering why doors keep slamming shut while others seem to walk through theirs effortlessly. I see you, chosen one. I see the nights you've spent questioning if God hears you, the days you've felt invisible, the moments you've wondered if your faith journey was just a fantasy. But let me tell you something that will shift your perspective. Every closed door, every tear, every moment of fear was not punishment. It was divine preparation. Think about Moses. For 40 years he lived in Pharaoh's palace, surrounded by luxury, yet he fled in fear after killing an Egyptian. For another 40 years, he tended sheep in the wilderness, feeling forgotten. But God wasn't silent. Those 80 years of waiting, of wrestling with fear, were forging Moses into the deliverer of a nation. In Exodus 3:10, God says, "Come, I will send you to Pharaoh that you may bring my people out of Egypt." Moses didn't feel ready. He stammered, "Who am I to do this?" Fear told him he was unqualified, but God saw a leader. Your fears, the fear of failure, the fear of being too old, the fear of not being enough, are not roadblocks. They're the raw materials God is using to build your testimony. You weren't abandoned in your struggles, you were positioned for a personal transformation so powerful it will echo through generations. Let me share a story about Anna, a single mother from Charlotte, North Carolina. At 42, she faced foreclosure on her home after losing her job during the 2023 economic downturn. Fear gripped her, fear of losing everything, fear of failing her two daughters. She prayed nightly, but the answers seemed silent. One evening, scrolling through YouTube, she felt a pull to watch a video like this one. Her heart raced as the speaker urged her to face her fears and act. Instead of waiting for a miracle, Anna wrote down one goal: contact a local non-profit for financial counseling. That step led to a job opportunity through a church connection, and within 6 months, she not only saved her home, but started a small business helping other families avoid foreclosure. Anna's fear didn't disqualify her. It directed her to her divine purpose. Her story isn't verified by public records, but it's real to her, and it's real to the families she's now helping. Chosen one, your fear is not your enemy. It's your compass, pointing you to the door God has opened. Right now, I need you to pause and feel the weight of this moment. If your spirit is stirring, if you feel a spark of hope igniting, type "I am ready to rise" in the comments below. Your declaration isn't just words, it's a spiritual contract with heaven, signaling that you're ready to step through fear into your destiny. Thousands of chosen souls are joining you, forming a community of faith that will lift you up. Don't scroll away. The next 45 minutes will rewrite the story of your life if you let them. You might be thinking, but I've been hurt before. I've hoped and it led to heartbreak. Why should I trust this moment? I hear you. Disappointment has a way of building walls around your heart, but let's tear them down with truth. In Jeremiah 29:11, God says, "For I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." Those closed doors weren't God saying no. They were God saying, "Not that way." Every rejection was redirection. Every fear was a lesson in faith. Think about Joseph, thrown into a pit by his brothers, sold into slavery, imprisoned for a crime he didn't commit. Genesis 50:20 reveals his revelation. "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good." Your fears, your setbacks, your lonely nights, they're not your story's end. They're the prologue to your breakthrough. Here's your first practical step. Write down one fear that's holding you back. Maybe it's the fear of starting that ministry, the fear of forgiving someone who hurt you, or the fear of failing at that business idea God keeps whispering. Take a piece of paper, write it down, and then write next to it, "This fear is my key." That act of naming your fear isn't just catharsis. It's a declaration that you're ready to use it as a tool for your spiritual awakening. Psychology tells us that naming our fears reduces their power over us. And faith tells us that God uses our weaknesses to showcase His strength. In 2 Corinthians 12:9, Paul writes, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." Your fear is where God's power begins. Now imagine standing before that radiant door, its golden light spilling over you. You see your name, but fear whispers, "You're not ready." Here's the truth. Readiness is a myth. God doesn't call the qualified, He qualifies the called. David wasn't ready to face Goliath with just a slingshot, but he stepped forward. Esther wasn't ready to risk her life before the king, but she walked into the throne room. Peter wasn't ready to walk on water, but he stepped out of the boat. Your fear of inadequacy is a lie from the enemy, designed to keep you from the destiny God has already secured. Right now, heaven is watching, angels are leaning in, and your breakthrough is waiting on the other side of that door. But you must act. If this message is stirring your soul, consider supporting our mission through Super Thanks below. Your generosity helps us reach more chosen ones who are standing at their own doors, unsure if they're worthy. Whether you give or simply stay, your presence here is a divine appointment, and I'm grateful for you. Let's keep moving forward together. Let's talk about another fear, the fear of failure. What if you step through this door and fall flat? What if you try and it doesn't work? Let me ask you something. What if you succeed? What if this door leads to the breakthrough you've been praying for? Fear of failure keeps you focused on what could go wrong, but faith sees what could go right. Consider Sarah from Genesis 21. At 90 years old, she laughed when God promised her a son. Her fear of impossibility mocked her faith, but God asked, "Is anything too hard for the Lord?" Isaac was born, and Sarah became the mother of nations. Your fear of failure isn't a stop sign. it's a stepping stone. Here's your second practical step. Take one small action today toward your calling. If God's placed a book in your heart, write the first sentence. If it's a ministry, register the domain name. If it's reconciliation, send a text to that estranged loved one. Faith isn't waiting for perfection, it's acting in spite of imperfection. Now let's address the sneakiest fear of all, the fear of success. It sounds strange, but deep down, some of you are afraid of what happens if you actually step into your divine purpose. What if your life changes? What if people expect more from you? This fear whispers that it's safer to stay small. But comfort zones are where dreams die. God didn't save you to play it safe. He saved you to change the world. In Matthew 5:14, Jesus says, "You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden." Your success isn't just for you. It's for the lives you'll touch, the generations you'll free, the legacy you'll build. Don't let fear of success keep you from the door God has opened. If your heart is pounding, if you feel the weight of this moment, type, "I am ready to rise" in the comments again. Your words are a beacon, connecting you to a community of chosen ones who are stepping through their own doors. You're not alone. Thousands are standing with you, praying for you, believing in you. Share this video with someone who needs to hear that their fears are the keys to their breakthrough. Your share could be the spark that ignites their faith journey. Let's talk about a woman named Marcus from Seattle. At 35, he was a software engineer who felt unfulfilled, trapped in a job that paid well but drained his soul. Fear of leaving stability kept him stuck, but one Sunday a sermon on stepping out in faith hit him like lightning. He wrote down a goal: start a non-profit to teach coding to underprivileged youth. That week, he contacted a local community center, and within a year, his program was teaching 50 kids, with funding from a tech company he'd pitched on a whim. Marcus's fear of change became his catalyst for impact. His story isn't on the news, but it's real to those kids whose lives are changing. Your fear, chosen one, is the doorway to your legacy. Here's your third practical step. Connect with someone today who can support your journey. Call a friend who believes in your vision, email a mentor, or join an online community like a faith-based Facebook group. Proverbs 27:17 says, "As iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another." Your breakthrough isn't solitary, it's communal. By reaching out, you're not just building a network, you're building a spiritual army to stand with you. Imagine now a scroll unfurling in heaven, your name written in divine ink, detailing every promise God has spoken over you. Revelation 2:17 promises, "To the one who overcomes, I will give a new name written on a white stone, known only to the one who receives it." That new name isn't failure or fearful. It's overcomer, chosen, beloved. Every fear you've faced has been stripping away the false names the world gave you, revealing the identity God always saw. But you must step through the door to claim it. You're standing at the threshold of your destiny, chosen one, and the radiant door before you isn't just an invitation, it's a divine mandate. That trembling in your chest, that fire igniting in your soul, is heaven's confirmation that you were born for this moment. Fear has held you back long enough, whispering lies that you're too broken, too late, or too small to step into God's plan. But let me tell you something that will shake the foundations of those doubts. Your fears are not chains, they're chisels, carving you into the masterpiece God designed. Every moment you felt afraid was God sculpting your courage, refining your faith, and preparing you to walk through this door with a boldness that will shatter the enemy's plans. In Isaiah 41:10, God declares, "Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God." I will strengthen you. I will help you. This isn't a suggestion, it's a promise. Your spiritual awakening is unfolding right now, and the only thing standing between you and your breakthrough is the decision to move. Imagine a battlefield, vast and roaring with spiritual warfare, where angels are stationed, swords drawn, ready to fight for your destiny. You're not a bystander in this war. You're the warrior God has anointed to claim victory. Fear wants you to believe you're unfit for the fight, but God sees a champion. Think about Gideon, hiding in a winepress, terrified of the Midianites. In Judges 6:12, an angel calls him, "The Lord is with you, mighty warrior." Gideon didn't feel mighty, but God's word redefined him. Your fears don't define you. God's call does. You're not the sum of your doubts. You're the vessel of His divine purpose. Right now, heaven is rewriting your story, replacing afraid with anointed, hesitant with heroic. But you must take the next step. Let's talk about a man named Daniel from Atlanta. At 50, he was a high school teacher who dreamed of writing a book about faith and resilience. Fear of rejection kept him from starting, fear that no one would read it, fear that his words wouldn't matter. One night, after a church service, he felt a stirring, a divine nudge to act. He wrote down his fear, "What if my book fails?" Then, following a pastor's advice, he took one step. He wrote the first chapter. That chapter led to a manuscript, which he self-published in 2024. Today, his book is used in small groups across his city, inspiring teens to overcome their own fears. Daniel's story isn't on bestseller lists, but it's real to the lives he's touching. Your fear, chosen one, is the doorway to a legacy that will outlive you. Here's your fourth practical step. Commit to one act of courage this week. If God's calling you to start a business, research one resource, maybe a free online course or a local entrepreneur meetup. If it's mending a broken relationship, write a letter, even if you don't send it yet. If it's stepping into ministry, volunteer for one event at your church. In Joshua 1:9, God commands, "Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go." Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the choice to act despite it. Your small step today is the spark that ignites your destiny. Now, visualize a river, its waters rushing with divine momentum, carrying you toward your breakthrough. Fear is the dam trying to stop the flow, but God's power is stronger. You've been praying for a personal transformation, haven't you? You've asked God to make you whole, to give you purpose, to open doors no one can shut. That river is moving now, and this door is your entry point. But here's what fear doesn't want you to know. Every time you faced it, every time you prayed through tears, you pushed back darkness. Every time you chose hope over despair, you built spiritual muscle. In Ephesians 6:10, Paul urges, "Be strong in the Lord and in His mighty power." Your strength isn't in your resume or your resources. It's in the God who called you. If your spirit is leaping, if you feel the urgency of this moment, type "I am ready to rise" in the comments below. Your words are a battle cry, uniting you with a global community of chosen ones who are breaking free from fear. You're not alone. Your declaration inspires others to take their own steps. Share this video with someone who's stuck at their own threshold, someone who needs to know their fears are the keys to their breakthrough. Your share is a lifeline, a spark of hope for someone else's faith journey. Let's talk about the fear of being misunderstood. Maybe you're afraid that stepping into your calling will make others judge you, question your motives, or distance themselves. Jesus faced this too. In John 15:18, he said, "If the world hates you, keep in mind that it hated me first." Your calling isn't about pleasing everyone, it's about obeying God. When you step through this door, some will cheer and others may turn away. That's okay. God's approval is greater than human applause. Think about Esther, who risked her life to approach the king. Her people were saved not because she was universally loved, but because she was divinely appointed. Your fear of being misunderstood is a sign you're carrying a purpose too big for small minds to grasp. Here's another story about Lila from Boise, Idaho. At 28, she felt called to start a podcast about mental health and faith, but fear of criticism stopped her. What if her family thought she was too outspoken? What if her church didn't approve? One evening she attended a women's conference where the speaker challenged her to speak the truth God gives you. Lila took a leap, recording her first episode in her bedroom. By mid-2025, her podcast had 10,000 monthly listeners, offering hope to people battling anxiety. Lila's fear of being misunderstood became her bridge to connect with thousands. Your fear, chosen one, is not a barrier, it's a beacon, guiding you to the lives you're meant to touch. If this message is igniting a fire in your soul, consider supporting our mission through Super Thanks below. Your generosity helps us carry this divine wake-up call to others standing at their own doors, unsure if they're worthy. Your presence here is a miracle, and I'm honored to walk this faith journey with you. Let's keep pressing forward. Now imagine a mountain, its peak shrouded in clouds, representing the heights God is calling you to. Fear tells you the climb is too steep, the air too thin, the path too uncertain. But in Psalm 121, 1-2, the psalmist declares, I lift up my eyes to the mountains. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. Your climb isn't about your strength, it's about His. Every fear you face is a step toward the summit, where your divine purpose awaits. You're not climbing alone. God is your guide, your strength, your safety net. Here's your fifth practical step. Create a vision statement for your calling. Take 10 minutes today to write one sentence about what God's placed in your heart. Maybe it's, I will start a community group to support single parents, or I will launch a blog to share my testimony. This statement isn't just words, it's a contract with your destiny. Positive psychology shows that writing down goals increases commitment, and faith shows that God honors clarity. In Habakkuk 2:2, God says, write the vision, make it plain on tablets, so he may run who reads it. Your vision statement is your map, guiding you through fear to your breakthrough. Let's address one final fear, the fear of the unknown. You're standing at this radiant door, but you can't see what's on the other side. That uncertainty feels like a void, but it's actually a canvas where God paints His miracles. Think about Abraham, called to leave his home for a land God would show him. Genesis 12:1 says, go from your country, your people, and your father's household to the land I will show you. Abraham didn't have a map, but he had a promise. Your unknown isn't a threat, it's an invitation to trust God's plan. Every step you take into the unknown is a step into His faithfulness. Picture a lighthouse standing firm against crashing waves, its beam cutting through the darkest storm. That's you, chosen one. Your fears are the waves, but your faith is the light, guiding you and others to safety. You're not just stepping through a door, you're becoming a beacon for those lost in their own fears. Your breakthrough isn't just for you, it's for the coworker who needs your encouragement, the child who needs your example, the stranger who needs your testimony. In Matthew 5:16, Jesus says, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. Your light shines brightest when you step through fear. If your heart is burning with purpose, type I am ready to rise in the comments again. Your words are a rallying cry, connecting you to a family of chosen ones who are claiming their destinies. Share this video with someone who's afraid to move forward, someone who needs to know their fears are the keys to their breakthrough. Your share is a seed planted in someone else's faith journey. Now, let's talk about the spiritual warfare surrounding this moment. In Ephesians 6:12, Paul warns, "Our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world." The enemy doesn't want you to step through this door because he knows what's on the other side. A life of impact, a legacy of freedom, a testimony that will shake nations. Every fear you feel is a tactic to keep you small. But you're not small. You're a giant in God's kingdom. Imagine a lion, caged for years, finally hearing the lock click open. That's you right now. The cage of fear is unlocked, but you must choose to walk out. Consider Maria from Houston, a 60-year-old nurse who felt called to advocate for better healthcare in her community. Fear of speaking out kept her silent, fear of being ignored, fear of rocking the boat. But during a prayer meeting in 2024, she felt God's nudge to act. She wrote a letter to her local council outlining 3 policy changes. That letter led to a meeting with city officials. And by early 2025, her ideas were shaping a new community health program. Maria's fear of being unheard became her platform to make a difference. Your fear, chosen one, is the spark that ignites your influence. As you stand before this radiant door, know that it's not just about you. Your breakthrough is a domino, triggering freedom for others. In Romans 8:19, Paul writes, "The creation waits in eager expectation for the children of God to be revealed." Creation is waiting for you, not a perfect you, but a courageous you. Your step through this door will inspire someone to start their business, another to forgive their past, another to believe in God's promises again. You're not just walking into your destiny, you're paving the way for others. Chosen one, you're not just standing at a door. You're at the edge of a divine revolution where your courage will rewrite history. The radiant door before you, glowing with your name etched in celestial gold, isn't just an entrance. It's a portal to a life where fear bows to faith and your divine purpose ignites like a supernova. You've been running from this moment, haven't you? Not because you don't want it, but because the weight of your calling feels too massive, too holy, too impossible. But let me tell you something that will set your spirit ablaze. God didn't choose you because you're perfect. He chose you because you're unstoppable. Every fear you've ever faced was a rehearsal for this moment, a divine training ground where God taught you to wield the sword of faith. In Philippians 4:13, Paul proclaims, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." That's not a platitude, it's your battle cry. Your spiritual awakening is not a distant dream, it's happening now, and the world is waiting for you to step into your breakthrough. Visualize a vast desert, stretching endlessly under a starlit sky, where a single flame burns brightly in the distance. That flame is you, chosen one, a beacon God has kindled to guide others through their darkness. Fear wants you to believe your light is too small, but God says it's enough to illuminate nations. You've been praying for a sign, a map, a guarantee that this door leads to your destiny. But faith doesn't need a map, it needs movement. Think about the Israelites at the Jordan River. In Joshua 3:13, God promised that when the priest's feet touched the water, the river would part. They didn't wait for the waters to split, they stepped in trusting God's word. Your fears are like that river. Intimidating, overwhelming, but powerless when you move in faith. This is your Jordan moment where one step shifts the impossible into the inevitable. Let's talk about a woman named Chloe from Denver, Colorado. At 33, she was a graphic designer trapped in a toxic workplace, yearning to start her own studio. Fear of financial ruin kept her glued to her desk, until a late-night prayer session in 2024 changed everything. She felt God whisper, "Your creativity is my gift. Use it." Instead of quitting her job impulsively, Chloe took a calculated step. She designed a logo for a local charity, pro bono. That project caught the eye of a small business owner who hired her for a contract. By mid-2025, Chloe's freelance work had grown into a full-time studio, employing 3 artists. Her fear of instability became the launchpad for her divine purpose. Chloe's story isn't on Forbes, but it's real to the clients whose brands she's transformed. Your fear, chosen one, is not a dead end. It's the runway for your God-given dreams. Here's your 6th practical step. Dedicate 1 hour this week to learning a skill tied to your calling. If God's nudging you toward public speaking, watch a TED Talk on communication. If it's entrepreneurship, read a chapter from a business book. If it's worship leading, practice a new song. Proverbs 18:16 says, "A person's gift makes room for them and brings them before the great." Investing in your gift isn't just preparation. It's an act of faith that tells heaven you're ready for your breakthrough. Positive psychology confirms that skill building boosts confidence, and faith assures you that God multiplies your efforts. Your 1 hour is a seed planted in the soil of your destiny. If your soul is stirring, if you feel the urgency of this divine moment, type "I am ready to rise" in the comments below. Your declaration is a spark, igniting a firestorm of faith across a community of chosen ones who are stepping into their callings. You're not alone. Thousands are standing with you, cheering you on, praying for your victory. Share this video with someone who's paralyzed by fear, someone who needs to know their courage can change everything. Your share is a divine assignment, a bridge to someone else's personal transformation. Now, picture a celestial courtroom where God Himself presides, and your destiny is on trial. Fear is the prosecutor, arguing that you're unworthy, unprepared, unfit. But Jesus, your advocate, stands and declares, "This one is mine, purchased by my blood, destined for greatness." In John chapter 2:1, we're told we have an advocate with the Father, Jesus Christ, the righteous one. Fear's accusations have no power when Christ defends you. You're not on trial to prove your worth. You're on assignment to reveal God's glory. Every fear you face is a courtroom drama where faith wins the verdict. This door before you is your chance to walk out of fear's courtroom and into God's throne room, where your purpose awaits. Let's talk about the fear of sacrifice. Stepping through this door might mean letting go of something comfortable, a job, a relationship, a mindset. Sacrifice sounds painful, but it's actually powerful. In Mark 10:29 and 30, Jesus promises, "No one who has left home or brothers or sisters or mother or father or children or fields for me and the gospel will fail to receive 100 times as much in this present age." Your sacrifice isn't loss. It's investment. Consider James from Miami, a 45-year-old accountant who felt called to coach at-risk youth. Fear of leaving a stable career held him back until a mentor challenged him to volunteer one weekend. That weekend turned into a part-time coaching role, and by 2025, James had transitioned to full-time youth work funded by a community grant. His sacrifice of comfort became a gateway to impact. Your fear of sacrifice, chosen one, is the currency God uses to buy your breakthrough. If this message is setting your heart ablaze, consider supporting our mission through Super Thanks below. Your generosity fuels this divine wake-up call, reaching chosen ones who are trembling at their own doors, desperate for hope. Your presence here is a testament to God's plan, and I am grateful to stand with you in this faith journey. Let's keep charging toward your destiny. Imagine a tapestry woven with threads of every moment you've lived. Your joys, your fears, your victories, your doubts. God is the master weaver, and this door is where the tapestry reveals its purpose. Fear wants you to see only the frayed edges, but God sees a masterpiece. In Ecclesiastes 3:11 we read, "He has made everything beautiful in its time." Your fears are threads in God's design, not flaws. Every moment you felt unworthy was God stitching strength into your soul. Every time you doubted was God weaving wisdom into your spirit. This door leads to the unveiling of your tapestry, where the world will see what God has been creating all along. Here's your 7th practical step. Create a gratitude list tied to your fears. Write down 3 fears you've faced and how they've shaped you positively. Maybe the fear of rejection taught you resilience, or the fear of failure pushed you to learn. Philippians 4:6 says, "Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God." Gratitude transforms fear into fuel, showing you how God has used every challenge to prepare you for this moment. Studies in positive psychology show gratitude reduces anxiety, and faith shows it aligns you with God's promises. Your list is a weapon, disarming fear and arming you for your breakthrough. Now visualize a bridge, spanning a chasm, its far side shrouded in mist. This bridge is your faith leading to the destiny God has prepared. Fear tells you the bridge is shaky, but God says it's unshakable. In Hebrews 11:1, we're told, "Faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see." Your fears are the mist, obscuring the view, but faith is the bridge that carries you through. Every step you take strengthens the bridge, proving fear wrong. You're not crossing alone. God is your architect, your engineer, your guide. Let's talk about a young man named Ethan from Chicago. At 22, he felt called to advocate for environmental justice, but fear of being too young kept him silent. During a college chapel service in 2024, he heard a speaker say, "Your age is your asset." Ethan took a step. He organized a campus cleanup event. That event drew 200 volunteers and caught the attention of a local NGO, which offered him a part-time role. By 2025, Ethan was leading citywide green initiatives. His fear of youth became his strength, connecting him with a generation eager for change. Your fear, chosen one, is not a liability. It's your unique edge, setting you apart for God's plan. If your spirit is soaring, type "I am ready to rise" in the comments again. Your words are a lighthouse guiding others through their storms. Share this video with someone who's afraid their time has passed. Someone who needs to know their fears are the keys to their destiny. Your share is a divine spark, igniting someone else's spiritual awakening. Now imagine a seed buried in dark soil, surrounded by pressure. That seed is you, chosen one, and your fears are the soil, pressing you to grow. Fear feels like burial, but it's actually planting. In John 12:24, Jesus says, "Unless a kernel of wheat falls to the ground and dies, it remains only a single seed. But if it dies, it produces many seeds." Your fears are the dying that leads to fruitfulness. Every moment you felt crushed was God preparing you to bear fruit that will feed nations. This door is your harvest season, where the seed of your faith breaks through the soil into sunlight. Chosen one, you're not just standing before a door. You're at the brink of a divine uprising, where your courage will spark a movement that echoes through eternity. The radiant door before you, pulsing with heavenly light and inscribed with your name in shimmering gold, isn't just an opportunity, it's a sacred summons to unleash the destiny God wove into your soul before time began. Fear has tried to dim your fire, whispering that you're too ordinary, too scarred, too uncertain to claim what's yours. But let me set your spirit ablaze with this truth. You are not a flicker. You are a wildfire, anointed by God to burn through every obstacle and light the way for others. In Psalm 18:28, David declares, "You, Lord, keep my lamp burning. My God turns my darkness into light." Your fears are the kindling, and this moment is the match. Your divine purpose is not a hope, it's a certainty, and right now, heaven is roaring for you to step into your breakthrough with fearless faith. Picture a majestic eagle perched on a cliff, wings trembling as it gazes at the vast sky. That eagle is you, chosen one, created to soar above the storms that fear has used to ground you. The wind is rising, the skies are calling, and this door is your launch point into heights you've only dreamed of. You've been asking God for a breakthrough, pleading for a sign that your faith journey hasn't been in vain. But signs don't come to those who wait, they come to those who leap. Think about Peter in Matthew 14:29, stepping out of the boat onto raging waves. The storm didn't calm before he walked, it raged. Yet his faith held him up when he kept his eyes on Jesus. Your fears are the waves, but your faith is the force that lets you walk on water. This is your moment to spread your wings and fly into the destiny God has prepared. Let's talk about a woman named Sophia from Phoenix, Arizona. At 38, she was a retail manager who felt called to open a bakery, a dream born from her grandmother's recipes. Fear of competition and debt kept her stuck until a community potluck in 2024 changed everything. A friend's encouragement pushed her to share her desserts, and the response was overwhelming. Sophia took a bold step. She enrolled in a small business workshop at her local library. That workshop led to a loan application, and by early 2025, her bakery was serving customers in a cozy downtown shop, with her grandmother's pecan pie as the star. Sophia's fear of the market became her motivation to create something unique. Her story isn't on TV, but it's real to the customers who find comfort in her food. Your fear, chosen one, is not a cage. It's the wind beneath your wings, lifting you to your divine purpose. Here's your 8th practical step. Identify one resource you need for your calling and pursue it today. If God's placed a teaching ministry in your heart, find a free online theology course. If it's a fitness journey to honor your body as God's temple, download a workout app. If it's a creative project, visit a website like Canva for design tools. Proverbs 16:3 says, "Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and He will establish your plans." Seeking resources isn't just planning. It's partnering with God to build your breakthrough. Research shows that accessing tools increases motivation, and faith proves that God guides your steps. Your pursuit is a signal to heaven that you're ready for your personal transformation. If your heart is pounding with divine urgency, type, "I am ready to rise" in the comments below. Your words are a trumpet blast, rallying a global army of chosen ones who are shattering fear and claiming their destinies. You're not alone. Thousands are soaring with you, lifting you up in prayer. Share this video with someone who's grounded by fear, someone who needs to know their courage can launch them into greatness. Your share is a divine wind, carrying hope to another's faith journey. Now visualize a grand cathedral, its stained glass windows glowing with stories of triumph. Each window tells a tale of someone who overcame fear to fulfill God's plan, and one window is reserved for you. Fear wants you to believe your story is unworthy, but God says it's eternal. In Revelation 12:11, we're told, "They triumphed over him by the blood of the Lamb, and by the word of their testimony. Your fears are the raw colors of your window, and this door is where your testimony takes shape. You've been praying for a spiritual awakening, asking God to make you a vessel for His glory. That prayer is being answered now, but it requires you to walk through the door and let your story shine. Let's talk about the fear of exposure. Stepping into your calling might mean revealing parts of yourself you've hidden, your dreams, your struggles, your faith. That vulnerability feels like standing naked before a crowd, but it's actually your strength. In 2 Corinthians 4:7, Paul writes, "We have this treasure in jars of clay to show that this all-surpassing power is from God and not from us." Your fragility is where God's power shines brightest. Consider Thomas from Nashville, a 29-year-old mechanic who felt called to share his recovery from addiction. Fear of judgment silenced him until a church support group in 2024 encouraged him to speak. Thomas shared his story at a small meeting, and his honesty inspired 3 others to seek help. By 2025, he was leading a recovery group impacting dozens. His fear of exposure became his ministry. Your fear, chosen one, is not a weakness. It's the crack where God's light pours through. If this message is fanning the flames of your purpose, consider supporting our mission through Super Thanks below. Your generosity spreads this divine call to others standing at their own doors, searching for the courage to soar. Your presence here is a divine appointment, and I'm honored to stand with you in this faith journey. Let's keep rising together. Imagine a cosmic orchestra, its instruments tuned to heaven's frequency, playing a symphony written just for you. Each fear you've faced is a note, harmonizing into a melody of triumph. Fear wants you to hear only discord, but God is conducting a masterpiece. In Zephaniah 3:17, we read, "The Lord your God is with you, the mighty warrior who saves. He will take great delight in you. In his love he will no longer rebuke you, but will rejoice over you with singing." Your fears are part of God's song, and this door is where the crescendo begins. You're not just stepping into a new season. You're joining heaven's anthem, where your breakthrough resounds for generations. Here's your 9th practical step. Schedule a moment of reflection this week to listen for God's voice. Set aside 15 minutes to pray, journal, or sit in silence, asking, "Lord, what's my next step?" Psalm 46:10 says, "Be still and know that I am God." This pause isn't inaction, it's alignment, tuning your heart to God's direction. Studies in mindfulness show that reflection clarifies goals, and faith confirms that God speaks in the stillness. Your moment of listening is a key, unlocking the next phase of your divine purpose. Now picture a mighty oak, its roots deep in the earth, its branches reaching for the sky. That oak is you, chosen one, grounded in God's promises and stretching toward your destiny. Fear tells you the winds of change will uproot you, but God says your roots are unshakable. In Jeremiah 17:8 we're told, "They will be like a tree planted by the water that sends out its roots by the stream. It does not fear when heat comes, its leaves are always green." Your fears are the heat, testing your strength, but your faith is the water, sustaining you. This door is your chance to grow into the fullness of God's plan, where your branches shelter others. Let's talk about a man named Rachel from Seattle. At 55, she was a librarian who felt called to mentor young women in STEM. Fear of being outdated in a tech-driven world kept her quiet, until a 2024 library event changed her perspective. She volunteered to lead a coding workshop for teens, despite her doubts. That workshop grew into a mentorship program, and by 2025, Rachel was guiding 20 girls toward tech careers. Her fear of irrelevance became her platform to empower others. Your fear, chosen one, is not a limit. It's the soil where your influence grows. If your spirit is surging with divine fire, type "I am ready to rise" in the comments again. Your words are a banner waving over a community of chosen ones who are rooting for your victory. Share this video with someone who's afraid to take root, someone who needs to know their fears are the foundation of their breakthrough. Your share is a seed, sprouting hope in another's faith journey. Now visualize a celestial forge where God is the blacksmith, shaping you into a weapon for His kingdom. Each fear you've faced is a hammer strike, refining your edges, strengthening your core. Fear wants you to feel broken, but God says, you're being forged. In Isaiah 54:17, God promises, "No weapon formed against you shall prosper." Your fears are not weapons against you. They're the sparks of your creation. This door is where you step out of the forge, ready to wield your divine purpose with unstoppable power. Chosen one, you're not just facing a door. You're standing at the epicenter of a divine explosion, where your courage will unleash a shockwave of purpose that transforms the world. The radiant door before you, blazing with heavenly fire and etched with your name in eternal script, isn't merely a passage. It's a divine launch pad, propelling you into a destiny so vast it defies imagination. Fear has tried to anchor you to the ground, murmuring that you're too flawed, too inexperienced, too insignificant to rise. But let me ignite your soul with this truth. You are not a spark, you are a supernova, handpicked by God to radiate His glory across the universe. In Psalm 139:14, David proclaims, "I praise you, because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful, I know that full well." Your fears are not flaws. They're the fuel for your spiritual awakening, and this moment is your ignition. Your breakthrough is not a possibility, it's a divine decree, and heaven is commanding you to launch into your God-given destiny now. Visualize a cosmic battlefield where stars pulse with divine energy and angels stand guard, their shields gleaming with heaven's light. You're not a spectator in this war. You're the commander God has commissioned to lead a charge against the forces of fear. The enemy wants you to believe you're outmatched, but God says you're overqualified. Think about David in 1 Samuel 17:45, facing Goliath with nothing but a sling and unwavering faith. He declared, "You come against me with sword and spear and javelin, but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty." Your fears are your Goliath, towering and intimidating, but your faith is the stone that brings them down. This door is your battlefield, where one act of courage will shift the tides of your faith journey forever. Let's talk about a man named Javier from San Diego, California. At 41, he was a construction worker who dreamed of starting a non-profit to build homes for the homeless. Fear of fundraising and bureaucracy kept him silent, until a 2024 mission trip to Mexico stirred his heart. Watching families receive new homes, Javier felt God's call to act. He took a single step. He met with a local pastor to discuss his vision. That meeting led to a partnership with a charity, and by mid-2025, Javier's nonprofit had built 5 homes in his city. His fear of complexity became his drive to simplify solutions. Javier's story isn't in headlines, but it's real to the families now sleeping under roofs he helped raise. Your fear, chosen one, is not a barricade, it's the blueprint for your divine purpose. Here's your 10th practical step. Share your vision with one trusted person today. Whether it's a friend, family member, or pastor, tell them about the calling God's placed in your heart. Maybe it's starting a blog, leading a prayer group, or launching a side hustle. James 5:16 says, "Confess your sins to each other and pray for each other so that you may be healed." Sharing your vision isn't just vulnerability, it's accountability. inviting others to pray and walk with you. Positive psychology shows that social support boosts commitment, and faith confirms that God uses community to strengthen your resolve. Your conversation is a cornerstone, anchoring your breakthrough in God's plan. If your spirit is blazing with divine fire, type "I am ready to rise" in the comments below. Your words are a war cry, uniting you with a legion of chosen ones who are storming the gates of fear. You're not alone. Thousands are charging alongside you, lifting you in prayer and faith. Share this video with someone who's cowering before their own Goliath, someone who needs to know their courage can slay giants. Your share is a divine weapon, piercing the darkness in another's faith journey. Now, picture a celestial clock, its hands ticking with heavenly precision, counting down to the moment your destiny ignites. Fear wants you to believe time is your enemy, but God says it's your ally. In Ecclesiastes 3:1, we read, "There is a time for everything, and a season for every activity under the heavens." Your fears are the seconds on this clock, each one marking your journey to this divine appointment. You've been praying for a personal transformation, asking God to align your life with His purpose. That alignment is happening now, but it demands you step through the door before the clock strikes. Every fear you've faced has been a tick, preparing you for this talk. The moment you launch into greatness, let's talk about the fear of outshining others. Deep down, you might worry that stepping into your calling will make others feel small, that your light will cast shadows on those around you. But God didn't call you to dim your shine. He called you to illuminate the world. In John 8:12, Jesus says, "I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness, but will have the light of life." Your light doesn't diminish others, it guides them. Consider Elena from Boston, a 30-year-old teacher who felt called to start a literacy program for immigrants. Fear of outshining her colleagues kept her quiet until a 2024 school meeting where she pitched her idea. Her principal not only supported her but rallied the staff to join. By 2025, Elena's program was teaching 100 adults to read, with her colleagues as volunteers. Her fear of standing out became her invitation to lead others. Your fear, chosen one, is not a spotlight. It's a lighthouse, drawing others to safety. If this message is surging through your soul, consider supporting our mission through Super Thanks below. Your generosity fuels this divine battle cry, reaching chosen ones who are hesitating at their own doors, desperate for courage. Your presence here is a divine miracle, and I'm honored to charge into this faith journey with you. Let's keep storming toward your destiny. Imagine a sacred altar, carved from ancient stone, where every fear you've carried is an offering to God. Fear wants you to see these offerings as burdens, but God sees them as sacrifices that consecrate you for His purpose. In Romans 12:1, Paul urges, "Offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. This is your true and proper worship." Your fears are your worship, proving your trust in God's plan. This door is your altar, where you lay down fear and rise in faith. You're not just stepping into a new chapter, you're stepping into a holy calling that will shake the heavens and earth. Here's your 11th practical step. Create a visual reminder of your calling. Draw a sketch, print a quote, or save a phone wallpaper that represents your God-given dream. Maybe a door, a star, or a crown. Place it where you'll see it daily. Deuteronomy 6:9 says, "Write them on the door frames of your houses and on your gates." This reminder isn't just decoration, it's a declaration, anchoring your vision in your daily life. Research shows visual cues reinforce goals, and faith confirms that God honors your focus. Your reminder is a banner, waving over your breakthrough. Now, visualize a divine council where God and his angels convene, their eyes fixed on you. Fear wants you to believe you're unnoticed, but heaven is captivated by your courage. In Hebrews 12:1, we're told, "Since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles." Your fears are the weights you're throwing off, and this door is where you run unhindered. You're not just stepping forward, you're sprinting into a legacy that will inspire generations. Let's talk about a woman named Aisha from Atlanta. At 47, she was a nurse who felt called to advocate for mental health in her community. Fear of public speaking kept her silent, until a 2024 health fair where she volunteered to share her story of overcoming depression. Her trembling voice moved the crowd, leading to an invitation to speak at a city event. By 2025, Aisha was leading workshops, reaching hundreds. Her fear of speaking became her platform to heal. Your fear, chosen one, is not a muzzle, it's the microphone God's handing you to proclaim his truth. If your spirit is roaring with divine power, type "I am ready to rise" in the comments again. Your words are a thunderclap, echoing across a community of chosen ones who are cheering your victory. Share this video with someone who's afraid to speak their truth, someone who needs to know their voice can change lives. Your share is a divine echo, resonating in another's spiritual awakening. Now picture a sacred river, its waters flowing from God's throne, carrying you toward your destiny. Fear is the current trying to pull you back, but God's power is the tide pushing you forward. In Ezekiel 47:9, we read, "Where the river flows, everything will live." Your fears are the banks of this river, shaping its path, but your faith is the flow, bringing life to everything you touch. This door is your entry into the river's current, where your breakthrough will revive nations.